What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my Draftkings MMA picks for UFC Vegas 88. We got Tai Tuivasa going against Marcin Tybura. We are back in the Apex. And yeah, I'm actually looking forward to this card, believe it or not. I don't think it has the most name value in the world, but what it really does have is a lot of fun and exciting fights. I think they did really good on the matchmaking. I think we're in for some violence, and yeah, definitely looking forward to this card, looking forward to breaking it down from a DraftKings perspective. Before we get into, if you guys could do me a couple favors, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel as always if you have not already. If you guys want extra content, be sure to check out dfsbythenumbers.com. There you'll find my fighter stats projections, ownership projections, rankings, prize picks article, DraftKings article, lineup optimizer, and much more. Check out dfsbythenumbers.com, and then also check out Prize Picks. If you guys are new to Prize Picks, use promo code DFSBTN and you'll get a 100% deposit match up to $100. And we'll touch on my Prize Picks play of the week later in the show. All right, guys, with all that out of the way, I say we get into it. We're going to start with our fight doesn't go to decision lines. Let's see which fights have a good chance to finish. We got Marcin Tybura, Tai Tuivasa, minus 1,400 for the fight doesn't go to decision. And yeah, I think this fight does finish more often than not. And I think it's a really good fight to target as well. We got Tai Tuivasa, 8,300. You got Marcin Tybura, 7,900. I think the winner of this fight has a really good chance to find his way onto the optimal lineup. With Tai Tuivasa, what you're looking for is probably an early knockout. This guy has 8 wins in the UFC. 7 of those 8 come under 1.5 rounds. So I love that early knockout upside for Tai Tuivasa. On the Tybura side, if this fight does get extended late second round, third, fourth, fifth round, if it gets there, it favors him. You know, Tybura is going to have all the grappling upside in this fight. And if he does get on top of Tai Tuivasa, especially later in the fight, he probably finishes him. So I'm more so on the Tai Tuivasa side here. I think he is going to go out there and get that early finish. But, you know, Tybura at 7,900 is definitely not the worst dog on the card at all, just due to the fact that it is 5 rounds. He has that grappling upside, and Tai Tuivasa probably crumbles after two or three rounds. So yeah, love this fight from a DraftKings perspective, and I think the winner does score well. Next, we got Kennedy Nzechukwu going against Ovince St. Preux. For me, I'm pretty much, I don't know what to do with this fight yet. I think I'm going to be more so on the Kennedy side for sure here. It's just the thing with Kennedy is he's very expensive. He's 9,400. He's the most expensive fighter on the slate, but I kind of like Kennedy more from a cash game perspective, I'd say, because I just think he's like one of the safest fighters on the card, which is crazy to say that about Kennedy and Nzechukwu, but he's going against OSP, who's just looked disinterested the last 4 years. He's now almost 41 years old. I think he turns 41 in April, and I'm just, outside of, I don't know, Kennedy and Nzechukwu would really have to mess this up to go out there and lose this fight. So I think Kennedy's safe. I do worry overall about the potential upside because Kennedy's typically a slow starter, takes a while to get going, could be a second or third round finish, but ultimately I do think he scores well, and yeah, I do like him in cash especially. I don't mind him in tournaments. Maybe he does go out there and starch OSP, but yeah, interesting fight. I don't think I'll be getting to much OSP, if any at all. Next, we got Jafel Filho going against Ode Osborne. This is a fight that I love from both sides here. We got Jafel Filho, 8,700. Ode Osborne, 7,500. Jafel Filho has not been to decision in like 12 fights. Ode Osborne very rarely goes the distance in his own right. These guys are going to throw down. Both these guys are very dangerous wherever the fight goes. I think we get a finish here. So yeah, I love this fight from a DraftKings perspective. I'm more so on the Filho side. He's 8,700. I just trust him a lot more. I don't really trust Ode Osborne. You know, Osborne's a guy that's been finished 5 times, a couple times by sub, a couple times by knockout. I worry about the durability, the cardio of Osborne, and if this fight does reach the second round, it's heavily in favor of Jafel Filho there. But yeah, Ode Osborne, 7,500. If he wins, it's probably a first round finish. The majority of Ode Osborne wins do come in that first round. So great fight to target. I'm going to be exposed to both sides here with a slight lean to Jafel Filho at 8,700. And then we got Thiago Moises going against Mitch Ramirez. This is kind of like a one-sided fight for me as well. I'm not sure I'm going to get to much Mitch Ramirez, maybe just a little sprinkle just because Thiago Moises is a guy that he is a little bit inconsistent. He's a guy that sometimes he looks like incredible in some fights. He looks like he doesn't even belong in the UFC, but you also take a look at like when Moises is losing, he's losing to very good fighters, and I don't think Mitch Ramirez is that. So should be Moises here, should be Moises by sub. He's 9,300, expensive, but he should be able to go out there and get a sub probably early on as well. So I don't mind some Moises. As far as Ramirez, maybe a little bit of sprinkle, if that. All right, getting to our core plays here. Kennedy into Chuku. Like I said, more of a cash play here. I think tournaments is fine, but cash especially. I mean, this is a guy that's minus 700 now on the money line, which is, it's kind of crazy, but again, he's going against OSP, who just looks checked out. He looks checked out. He looks done. Kennedy's a guy that is going to go out there. I think he's very likely to get the finish. I mean, he's minus 275 to get that finish, so I think Kennedy's one of the safer plays on the card. Love him in cash tournaments. Don't hate him, but what I do worry about is if he takes a little bit to get going, but we'll have to see. So yeah, give me Kennedy. I think he's one of the safer plays on the card, believe it or not. Next, we got Jafel Filia, who we talked about as well, 8,700. Yeah, Filio's a guy that has that absolute dog in him. Filio's a guy that is an absolute finisher. He has like a 90% finish rate. Again, he's not been the distance in a very long time as well. And he's going against Ode Osborne, who just seems to look for the door, looks for a way out, Ode Osborne. Osborne's been finished 5 times. I think Filio could potentially knock him out, but I think where the real path here is getting this fight down to the mat, getting on top, and finding a submission. So Jafel Filio, 8,700, I think is a really good play. Tai Tuivasa, 8,300. Yeah, main event. I'm on the Tai Tuivasa side. I think he's live for that early finish, first or second round. Tai Tuivasa, when he's winning fights, he's winning them under 1.5 rounds. Tybura, when he's losing fights, he's getting knocked out a lot. We saw him knocked out in like 60 seconds in his last fight against Tom Aspinall. We saw Augusto Sakai, of all people, starch him in 60 seconds as well. Tai Tuivasa, yes, his ground game's bad, but Tybura takes a while to get the grappling going. Tybura is one of those guys that doesn't really go out there and grapple until his opponent, kind of gasses out, slows down, and I just think, Tai Tuivasa is going to hurt him badly up until then. I think Tai Tuivasa finds that knockout early on. If he doesn't, it's going to get bad quick, but at 8,300, I'll take my chances. Isaac Dalgarian, 8,500, a guy that I do like. This is a guy with a 100% finish rate, 6 wins, all 6 of them coming in the first round. Has a little bit of an amateur career, all those wins coming in the first round. This guy has a legit wrestling background. He's taken on Christian Rodriguez, who, typically a bantamweight, now coming up to featherweight here. I think Dalgarian's going to be able to get takedowns and can potentially get a finish here. The big question with Dalgarian is, what's his cardio look like in the second and the third round, because we've never seen it. But if it turns out this guy does have cardio, I think he's going to go out there and score a ton. And then on top of that, like I said, I think he has a good chance to finish this fight as well. The ground and pound is vicious for Dalgarian. He hits very, very hard. So yeah, I like Dalgarian, 8,500. Moving on to the GPP plays here. A little more risky plays here with Gerald Meerschaert especially, 7,100. The price tag is kind of disgusting. Typically, when you want to play Gerald Meerschaert, you play him as a dog. He's very rarely the favorite, but he's going against Brian Barberena, who just looks disinterested at this point. He's now fighting up a weight class for really no reason. I mean, he's very small at middleweight. Gerald Meerschaert's going to have a height and a reach advantage, a pretty big reach advantage as well. Probably a physicality advantage. Meerschaert's used to going up there and facing these big guys that hit very hard, like a Joe Pyfer, like a Andre Petrosky, like a Hamzat Chimaev, guys like that. Now he's taking on Brian Barberena, who I like Barberena, but doesn't have the most power in the world. I don't think he's going to get one shot knocked out here against Brian Barberena, who only has 4 knockout wins in the UFC. So I feel like it's one of those fights where Meerschaert's able to get this fight down to the mat at some point in time, second, third round. And I think he goes out there and gets a sub. So you get Meerschaert, 9,100, expensive, but I think he gets the finish late. Thiago Moises, 9,300. A little bit like Meerschaert, just I think a lot more trustworthy, I'd say. And I think Moises has potential to probably finish this fight a lot earlier than Meerschaert. Meerschaert's a guy that kind of takes a while to get going, gets the late finish more often than not. Whereas Moises, I feel like he's just, on another level here. I think it's a levels fight. I think he's going to show that it's a levels fight. I think he gets this fight down to the mat and finds a sub first or second round. 9,300, expensive, but I'm liking an early finish here from Moises. Josiane Nunez, 8,400. Yeah, terrible fight, but I think this terrible fight is going to be very important on DraftKings. I mean, Josiane Nunez, she's 8,400. I don't know how popular she's going to be, but, she's dangerous. She has 10 wins, the majority of those wins coming by knockout, 7 knockout wins. She throws with a ton of power. Chelsea Chandler is a walking punching bag. I could definitely see a world where Josiane Nunez goes out there and knocks out Chelsea Chandler, hurts her, and gets her out of there. So I don't mind some Nunez. Not in love with the fight, but I have a feeling it's going to score well. They've got Mike Davis, 9,200. I like Mike Davis here a decent amount. I actually think he's live for a finish as well. I just feel like he's better than Natan Levy in every single aspect of MMA. Like, I'm not sure where Levy is going to have any ounce of success in this matchup because Mike Davis is going to be the much better striker. I think Mike Davis is going to be the much better wrestler. I think Mike Davis is going to be the much better grappler. I think Mike Davis, although doesn't have the best cardio, is going to have the better cardio in this matchup. So I just really like Mike Davis to go out there, and I like him to get a win. Does he finish Natan Levy? I kind of think so. Natan Levy's never been finished, but he's also never fought, a guy like Mike Davis, who's very, very good. Mike Davis has 10 wins, 8 of those coming inside the distance, has some power, has a sneaky submission game as well. So I kind of like Davis to go out there and get it done inside the distance. 9,200, another spot I do like up top. Moving on to the prize picks play of the week. This week we are going to be going with the Thiago Moises less than 36.5 significant strikes. And yeah, I think he gets less than 36.5 significant strikes here. I don't think there's really a reason for him to go out there and strike with Mitch Ramirez. I don't really see the point in that. I think he's going to try to get this fight down to the mat probably early on. And just when he does, I think there's going to be a massive difference in terms of the ground game between Moises and Mitch Ramirez. I think he subs him probably first, maybe second round. So give me Moises less than 36.5 significant strikes. We'll see if we can hit the play of the week. Last week we did. We had Kyler Phillips less than 2 takedowns. He went out there and got 0. So we hit that. Let's see if we can hit this one there. Because when I check out Prize Picks, promo code DFSBTN. Moving on to the live dogs. Yeah, a couple here. Marcin Tybura, live dog. Although I'm picking Tuivasa, I'm picking to win by early KO. If this fight gets extended second, third round, and beyond, yeah, it heavily favors Marcin Tybura. Tai Tuivasa's won one fight. That has went over 1.5 rounds. So Tybura, he's got that wrestling upside if it comes. He's got that grappling upside. He's got that late finish upside. He's 7,900, going to be the less popular between him and Tuivasa as well. So yeah, this is the main event that I think is borderline must target here with Tuivasa early and Tybura late. Angelusa, 7,600, a guy that I think can actually be sneaky this week. Everybody's on Brian Battle. Angelusa is actually not a terrible scorer on DraftKings, especially, nowadays he's mixing in the wrestling, and I think he's going to mix in the wrestling here against Brian Battle, who is sporting a 45% takedown defense. I think Lusa can go out there and get a bunch of takedowns. The question is Lusa's cardio going to hold up across 15 minutes? That's, I guess, the big question mark there. But if it does, and if Lusa is able to win this decision, I think he can put up like a massive score at 7,600. So I like Lusa as an underdog at this price tag. Danny Silva, another underdog I don't mind, 7,400. We saw in the Contender Series, this is a guy that can go out there and push the pace. He comes forward like a zombie. He throws a ton of strikes, landed over 200 significant strikes on the Contender Series. And yeah, I think he pushes the pace here against Colibao. The one thing I do worry about with Colibao is the fact that he does hit very hard, and Silva is open to be getting hit. But, Silva's a tough guy, and if Silva does win this fight, I see a big score. I think this Colibao fight is going to score very, very well as a whole. I think it's a very underrated fight as well, so it's a fight I'm going to be on. But yeah, Danny Silva, 7,400. The money's been coming in on him all week, making him some solid value at this price tag. Ode Osborne, 7,500. Yeah, Ode Osborne kind of reminds me of like a Daniel Lacerda in a way. Not as bad, but to a point where I think if Ode's winning this fight, it's in the first round. I don't like his chances if this fight reaches the second round at all. Ode has a lot of wins in the first round, like a lot of wins. Jafel Fia has been finished a few times. I think Philly has been finished like 3 times. Barra has hurt him multiple times. So yeah, there is a path to victory for Ode Osborne to go out there and starch Filio in the first round. And if he does, at 7,500, he's going to break the slate. So I don't trust his cardio, his durability, but, he is going to go out there and he's going to try to get that finish early. If he does, he scores well. If not, I think he gets finished in round 2 or round 3. All right, moving on to the pump plays. A couple sticking out here. Chad and Helliger, 7,300. I'm just not sold on Gregorio, especially at 8,900. Chad and Helliger is a guy that experienced guy. He's now 37 years old, which I don't love, but he's a very tough guy. 7 losses, 6 of them coming inside the distance, but 6 of those come by submission. And Gregorio has no submissions on his record, and Helliger's never been knocked out, and I think that's key here. And Helliger has a lot of power in his own right. I think a knockout here for an Helliger could be sneaky as well. So 7,300 for a guy that has a lot more experience, has fought the much better competition, hits very hard. I don't mind some Helliger as a pump play. And then Brian Barberena, 7,100. It's just weird seeing Mearshart at this price tag. Like, Mearshardt's a guy that if he doesn't go out there and grapple and he strikes with Barberena, like Barberena probably beats him. It's just, I don't know. I'm not sure what Barberena's doing up at this weight class. I feel like Mearshart eventually does drag this fight down to the mat. But yeah, Barberena 7,100. I think it's in play. And then also Mitch Ramirez, we talked about 6,900, just because Thiago Moises has dropped the ball. And then if you want like a dart throw, OSP 6,800, just because Kennedy's also dropped the ball. But yeah, Chad Hellinger is probably my favorite out of the lower range. All right. And then fade is going to be Macy Chiasson. There really isn't a ton of fades this week that I love. But yeah, Macy Chiasson's probably that one. It's just going to be a cage-pushing type of fight. I can see like 10 minutes of control time here for Chiasson. Couple takedowns. I don't see a finish. I think this goes the distance. Tons of low volume in this matchup. I think she wins. Pretty confident she wins, actually. But I'm just not confident she scores well. So I'll be fading Macy Chiasson. And there you guys have it. Thank you all for watching. Leave a like on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. Check out dfsbythenumbers.com. All my content will be posted probably by the end of the day here. DFS article, all that good stuff. So yeah, check it out. And best of luck for UFC Vegas 88. I think this card's fun. I think it's for the hardcore fans, and it's going to be a good time. So yeah, guys, best of luck, and we'll talk to you soon. See you later.